America may have to start giving away some of its own territory to other countries. At least according to the logic of Steve Witkoff, who's a special envoy to the Middle East. And speaking about Eastern Ukraine and his claim that 70% of that population speaks Russian as a first language, he said they are Russian-speaking, and there have been referendums justifying Russia's claim to that Ukrainian land due to Russian being the majority language. With that same logic, then the United States has to give up some pieces of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, since there are several counties all along the border with Mexico that do speak Spanish as their first language. Don't forget pieces of Florida or Louisiana, which have Spanish and potentially Creole as their first language. Believe it or not, there are parts of the northeastern USA like Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, where there are some pockets of people who speak French as their first language, meaning that Quebec in Canada is going to get some territory too. It's going to be a very difficult process redrawing the American map based on which languages people speak, especially a melting pot like our country. There are parts of Russia where the majority language is Uzbek, Turkmen, Tatar, Bashkir, Kazakhs. All of these countries have their right to those people since that is their first language. Don't forget the Russian-occupied parts of Georgia and Moldova where Russian is clearly not the first language. They have to lose that too. There are pockets of China where the first language is actually Korean, so that means China has to cede some land to North Korea. There's Mongolian, so of course China has to lose it to the Mongols. And don't get me started even on Europe. I mean, look at how close Norway, Sweden, and Finland are. That is like a weird smorgasbord of who belongs to what. There's France and Germany, the province of Alsace-Lorraine, where they speak both French and German. Who goes to who? And poor frickin' Switzerland over here, where they speak either majority French, German, Italian, or Romansh. But I guess there's no country for Romansh. Or maybe, just maybe, we go back to common sense and not redraw a map based on the language distribution of the people. When people try to justify Ukraine's annexation based on how much older Russia is and how much more established the culture is, just think of Mexico and the United States. Mexico was colonized in the 1500s, and they had a much more established culture than the United States in 1843 when Mexico lost land in that war. Then we could start asking questions. Which country actually has right to what land and which people? And that is the complication of government and rulership. But I know for certain, at least when it comes to Ukraine and other parts of Eastern Europe, is that they have enjoyed or endured Russian rule for 70 to 80 years. And everywhere I went in Eastern Europe, and every book I've read, and even my own family who was occupied by Russian troops, none of them want it to happen again. Russia is using the same exact tactics as the Germans in the 1930s when they claimed they had to free the subjugated German-speaking populations in Czechoslovakia, which was the Sudetenland, and of course, Austria. Did giving those territories to Germany in the 1930s avert war? Did it stop anything, or did something horrendous happen right after? I am the Geo Husar, and Ukraine is the elder culture and state, not Russia. Thanks for watching.